out of fear of actually being in the real world.
Yeah.
I always loved my time at CCNM. I really enjoyed the workload. I have always enjoyed learning.
Yeah.
I felt like the residency was an additional opportunity to learn with mentorship, and that was a really nice feature. And I always liked the idea of sort of an apprenticeship, which, you know, our 4th year internship is to some degree, but I felt like I would benefit from more.
Yeah.
I also knew that I was very interested in the academic world, and that was something that, you know, I've just always really liked school.
Yeah.
So I felt like being a resident was going to give me the opportunity to continue to engage in that process and be more directly a lifelong learner as an instructor and as a facilitator. So to me it was a perfect opportunity, and I am still here 10 years later, so clearly it was an appropriate path for me.
I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to open a practice after. My husband, who I was dating at the time, was still in school, and he's a chiropractor, and he was in chiropractic school, and eventually the thought was that we would practice together. But the residency program was attractive because I wanted to learn to be an educator, and that's really what it taught me. It also taught me to be a good speaker, which I still use today.
When I was in first year, I found out that this was a possibility, and because I'm a giant nerd and kind of obsessed with school, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a cool option for later when I still want to be here, but then I kind of forgot about it until 4th year. And I kind of just like casually had it as a background option. I wasn't really sure what I wanted, but then by the end of 4th year, I realized I hadn't fully, the things I thought I was going to focus in on, I didn't want anymore, and then I realized I didn't really know where I was going to go. All I knew was that I loved CCNM and I loved the atmosphere here, and I didn't actually just want to leave. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to apply.
Yeah, that was not an immediate love at first sight thing. But I think, you know, I had some TAs that were really awesome. And the idea actually of being in more of a teaching or a mentorship role was something that really appealed to me. It's also a great opportunity to kind of review everything you've learned and to really become proficient and competent. When you have to teach it, it's so different than having to passively learn it. And that was something I was really excited about.
At the time, I wasn't quite sure where I was going to take my career, and I just felt like it was missing a little something more. You know, I felt like there was more learning to do, more exploring to do, and so, you know, to me the residency was nice because it allowed me to explore different things. I knew that it was going to give me a lot of clinical exposure, and also, you know, challenge me in different ways. I mean, I didn't always think that I was going to necessarily teach, but I thought that it was an interesting challenge, and you know, teaching was one of those things like in the back of my mind, like way back when, that I thought maybe I would go to teachers college. So before choosing CCNM. So I thought it was a good sort of blend of clinical exposure, new experiences, bit of teaching, and you know, it allowed me to sort of test the waters a little bit and see whether it was something that I would like to pursue or not. And
So, like I mentioned my sister before, my sister graduated in 2007. At her graduation, I knew I wanted to become a resident. I don't know how. I started the program in 2009, by the way. So by the time 2nd year rolled around, which was 2010, I was a January at the time, I always knew that I wanted to give back in some capacity. I wanted to kind of just be a little bit more involved in the college. And as I went through 3rd year and 4th year, you know, you saw other residents who were in the program giving advice, being involved in courses and that kind of stuff. And so it became a little bit more solid, and I knew that I wanted to be in that role. I knew I wanted to teach because I love teaching, and I wanted to still be involved in the college with the student body. And I feel my biggest draw was working with students in a way where it helps them come through their process, because I feel we underestimate the people who help us and how they come into our lives. We underestimate how they can help us get to where we are in life, and I feel I had a lot of that going through the program, so I kind of wanted to give back in that capacity.
originally my plan was to return to Saskatchewan, where I'm from, and help service underserviced regions in the province, because healthcare is definitely at a premium there. It's hard to get general practitioners of any type or medical practitioners, and so that was my original plan, and so I wanted to make sure I was very firm on my skills before I was thrown into like rural healthcare and anything potentially walking into my door. And then I also wanted to give back to the CCNM community, so I felt like I had gained a lot during my 4 years, and so I thought that learning through the residency program, but also being able there to be sort of a mentor or someone who can help students understand sort of where they're going and what it's like, and really help them identify with some of the struggles, because I was there not that long ago.
So as I went through the program, I had exposure to other residents, and I thought they were great. And then I really wanted to teach in some way. So I knew that the residency was an opportunity to teach, and it was also an opportunity for permanent employment, as well as like a good transition from being a student to sort of working your way into the real world. So that's how I kind of looked at it, and then what I did was I just set my sights and said, okay, that's what I want to do when I finish. I know that in the conventional medical model, everyone has to go through residency, and the naturopathic model, not so much. So it's a little bit different in that sense, but I knew that it was something I wanted to experience.
Very similarly, I didn't really know much about residency. I didn't know that it existed until my third year. In my third year, I became involved with the NSA. In my fourth year, I was NSU president. And I began to really see CCNM behind the scenes. And I started to really fall in love with the school and with the administration, and really understanding that people were here to improve naturopathic medicine and improve the profession. So I started to understand a little bit more about the residency through that lens. I've always loved teaching. I've always been impassioned by that. So, even through my high school years, I was a tutor and all of that stuff. So that was something that really drew me to the residency as well. This was something that, was a natural fit after graduating, and I was very excited.
So what led me into the residency was I really liked the idea of teaching. I've always been really passionate about teaching, and I really liked that you'd be able to work alongside other naturopaths at the college. So the college is fantastic because it has such a wide spectrum of different naturopaths. So I really liked the idea that I'd be able to teach, but then as I was kind of getting comfortable in my own skin as a naturopath, I'd be able to develop my skills alongside other professionals. So from a professional point of view, I just thought it was a great career investment, because you spend sort of 2 years working alongside all of these fabulous colleagues, and you leave with that knowledge, but then you can also give back to the profession as well through teaching. I also think that it's great because you can develop this skill of critical reflection. So you have people kind of giving you feedback. So the students that you work with, the faculty, your colleagues, it's a great way to kind of gain insight into your own style of practice. And really settle into your own skin.
I don't feel like I was done with CCNM. I came back, I felt a lot better. I wanted to share my experience. I wanted to share what I've learned. I wanted to contribute back to CCNM, to the community, to the naturopathic profession. I thought this was a great way to do it. I also felt like I wasn't done learning. The thing with medicine is you're learning for life. At no point should you feel like you're done. If you feel like you're done, it's time to retire or change professions, move on, do something different. Paycheck doesn't hurt.
Steady income.
Gotta be honest, it's nice to have the income. And sort of the things that CCNM pays for, like registration, like prescribing rights, prescribing courses, CE, and eventually the IVIT course. So it's part of the training that we get, and it's been really helpful.